change the face of China one lipstick at a time. Yusai Khan's humanitarian efforts have focused mainly on education, obviously a theme that you are going to hear here, and cultural exchanges. She built schools in her hometown and libraries in poor regions in northern China. Yusai Khan is the first and only living American featured on a Chinese postage stamp. Please come on.
Actually, it was really neat to be on a postage stamp. As vague as I am, I remember when they asked me to submit them a picture, I was really nervous. I said, which picture am I going to submit? So many people are going to lick me. Actually, I was just going to come up here and say thank you, and then go out. And then William down there said, Yusai, you have to talk someday about China. And since I have been involved in it for the last 25 years, really mainly the time that China has grown enormously. First, I'd like to just say that I'm very thrilled to be here. I think the award that is given to me really should go to Louis. I think she's an extraordinary woman. I knew very little about this summit until a few months ago, and to be able to see a summit like this, where some of the greatest minds of our country, this country and the world are assembled, is quite an inspirational experience. So I want to thank you very much for this. Yeah. I know that I just have a few minutes, and to summarize, like 25 years of what I've done in China is a little bit daunting. But I will just quickly say that in 1986, when I launched the new television show, this television show was amazing in many, many ways. Number one, if they ask a foreign, you look at me, I'm Chinese, but I'm not Chinese, I'm American Chinese. So I hold an American passport. To have a government that has been enclosed for so many, many years, to ask a foreigner to host a TV show in China was really an amazing idea. That really shows you one thing, the Chinese government was very smart. They really wanted to use television as a vehicle to educate the population. At that time, not everybody had a television show, so the audience was only about 300 million. Now, I mean it very seriously because, you know, in those days, there was only one network and one channel. So imagine we put all the MTVs on all the CNNs and everything together, one channel, one network. So if I was on television, I didn't have to be good. I could be really lousy, I would still be very famous. So in those days, I remember they asked me to do this series for China, to do it both in English and Chinese. And more importantly, they say, I want you to show us the real world as the world is, because I'm not a Chinese producer, I'm an American producer. So they really were serious about it. But I said to them, I said, look, who's going to pay for this? I'm going to plan a program for 220 countries. Where are you going to give me the money to produce? And you know how expensive it is to produce television shows, especially on location. And the Chinese said, well, we have no money. CCTV was the poorest network you will ever find in the world because China had no advertising. At that time, China had no consumerism, none. So I said, well, I had to be American. So I said, well, okay, give me advertising time. You give me advertising time, I'm going to get the advertising to help to support my television show. So I remember the first advertiser was Nestle. Imagine, Nestle was launching coffee in China. Coffee for a country, people drink tea. And that was really very, very amazing. And Good to the Last Drop was really wasn't an experiment. But after 2 weeks of the launch, every drop was sold in China. And the television show was therefore the first show on television in China, they carry regular advertising. If any of you now today go to China and say, well, tourism is everywhere, therefore all the TV stations are very rich. CCTV is the richest. The second sponsor I got was Procter & Gamble. And I was really excited, so I telexed. Remember those days? Telex? I telexed the government and I said, approve me, approve Procter & Gamble. After all, I got them as our second sponsor. And they were very quick in the response, which is very, very interesting. And they said, very sorry, we cannot approve Procter & Gamble because the government does not allow gambling. Today, CCTV is absolutely amazingly wealthy. During the news hour, they had to auction their time off. They even have advertising that is like 10 seconds long. So it's really an amazing change. When I was dealing with one station, one network, across this country of 1 billion people, today we're dealing with, just CCTV alone, it's like 23 stations, 23 channels around the globe. And you can see CCTV here in this country. And you are also talking about every city in China has a city station. You're talking about thousands and thousands of stations. Now, of course, we know that I also own a cosmetic company, which I sold to L'Oreal. And when I started cosmetics, seriously, it was like a joke. Because nobody would believe that I could actually sell cosmetics in China that was just very recent, in 1990. I launched the first store in 1992. In China, no one used cosmetics. There were huge debates after I gave a lecture in China that why should we use cosmetics? The school would be split into two. One part of the school would say, we don't believe in using cosmetics. We want to be as natural as possible. And the other side said, give it a chance. We want to be modern. So also we did something quite extraordinary because there was no cosmetic company. So I had to do a lot of education. I did numerous lectures around the country in every kind of, for every kind of organization you can imagine, women's groups, prime minister's wife, and everybody you can imagine. I wrote books, I did television shows, I did radio shows, everything. We basically, Yusai Cosmetics basically really opened the cosmetic business in China. So when I sold the cosmetic company a few years ago to L'Oreal, I sold them 23 companies, and I sold them 800 counters, and also 2 factories. And it was really amazing today. Every cosmetic company is in China, even brands I've never heard before in my life. And brands that are from Korea and Germany, that you don't even see in the United States, they are there. Everything is there. So the change is enormous. And I find myself always feeling very grateful that I was a witness and also very fortunate to have been participating in this enormous miracle that was unfolding in front of me every single day. I hope that this seminar will have, this summit, will have a lot more Chinese participating in the near future. They are getting to be a lot more international. They are going to infiltrate everywhere in the world, and I see it every day, and I'm sure that we will benefit a great deal from those participants. As for myself, I am very grateful. I am honored and thrilled that not only in your company, but also in the company of 3 extraordinary gentlemen who are recipients of this award tonight. And I can't tell you how happy I am. Amen.
Yusai was saying that the Chinese are going to infiltrate everywhere. I have a colleague, Lou Dobbs, who made a career out of that. he meant it differently. Congratulations. What a great story.